Velina mai kako. Welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by feeling at home in the islands. I'm your host Kamaka, and seriously, there is no better feeling than being at home here in the islands. We got a legendary guest today, but before we introduce him, I gotta remind you, as always, to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/kamakadias to get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to this podcast, or check out our keepitaloha.com website and get some KIA merch, just like the one I am wearing today. We have an amazing, legendary guest in the studio today. The episode was great. He's so wise, very honest, very self-aware. It was just a really good, fun episode. Two Portuguese getting together, talking. I think you'll be surprised, like I was, how old he is, but how young he looks. I'm not going to say how old he is. You got to go watch the episode. But yeah, it was just a really fun episode. I know you guys are going to enjoy it. And yeah, let's get right into it. Let's introduce our guest. Support for this podcast comes from Texaco in Hawaii, which features 58 convenient locations across the state. Fueling up at Texaco is fast and easy when you use the Texaco mobile app to pay at the pump. The Texaco mobile app is a contactless way to pay for fuel so you can get in and out of the gas station quickly. Fuel your car and fuel yourself. Pick up your favorite local snacks and ice cold drinks at your neighborhood Texaco today. Texaco at Techron, driving performance. Our guest today is an award-winning and Grammy-nominated musician from the island of Oahu. This revered and beloved Kumu hula singer, songwriter, and entertainer has performed throughout Hawaii, the continental U.S., and internationally. Together with his brother Roland, they were known as the Brothers Cazimero and have been honored with more than 25 Nā Hōkū Hanohano Awards. And in 2006, they were inducted into the Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame. After becoming a kumu hula from Maiki in 1972, he established Hālau na Kamalei o Līlīlehua, an award-winning school of Native Hawaiian dance for men in 1975. The Hālau has performed around the world, from the stage of Carnegie Hall in New York to stages in Japan, Australia, Hong Kong, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Portland, and Seattle. He has been a staple in Hawaiian music, hula, and culture for as long as I can remember, and I am so stoked to talk stories with him today. His name is Brothers Cazimero. Aloha, Robert. Welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast. How you doing?
Aloha. I'm doing great, and I am really honored to be here with you today. I love your podcasts. I love what you do, and you're so young.
To be young again.
I tell you, it's really interesting because I really do believe that, you know, when people talk about the Renaissance of Hawaii, you know, the Kalakaua, and then, of course, it comes to the 1960s into the 70s. And I really think that the third Renaissance is happening right now because of your generation and
Totally.
because of the conviction that you all have. You know, during our time, we were working for it, but I never really believed that it was possible to find fruition in all that work. But I see that in your generation, that it is even more possible than I ever could have imagined. So I'm honored to be here in your show, at your show.
Well, I'm honored to have you here.
Thank you so
a living
much.
legend. And I was telling you right before we started that I didn't realize how impactful you were in the Hawaiian Renaissance, you and your brother, and you being part of the Peter Moon Band and the Sunday Manoa, all that, which we just recently talked about that with Keanu Sai.
Oh, yeah.
And I had no idea. You're one of the people that I grew up hearing, like, you know, Robert Cazimero, Brothers Cazimero. Your voice, you know. Yeah. I may not know every song, but I hear it. I'm like, that's Robert Cazimero, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's cool to have you here. You know, when I tell people, oh, I'm talking to Robert Cazimero, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. My mom,
he's still alive.
Yeah. No, only a couple people said that.
You know, one time I got stopped by a cop. I don't know what I was doing, but anyway. And he looks at my license and he says to me, are you one of those Cazimero brothers? And I said, yeah. He said, I thought you were dead. And I was like, no, not yet.
I'm still alive here. And kicking.
Still going.
Yeah, you look great, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Do you do anything to stay young? Like,
you know, I just
routines.
I teach and I sing, and you know, now more than ever though, you know, as you get older, you begin to take care of yourself more. Like, maybe had I done this when I was your age, like back in my 20s, I would look even better now, you know. But I gotta say I've been really fortunate, and I am aware of my fortune, and I'm very grateful for it every day. It's interesting that I've had the opportunity to live this long and to see what's happened in my lifetime in these 75 years.
Awesome. Wait, you're 75 years old?
I'm 75. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I know.
I swear you look a lot younger.
Oh, thank you, brother.
And I'm not even saying that to be nice because you're on my show.
Yeah.
I had no idea that you're 75.
Yeah. So that's like, like when I think about most of my friends that are gone, but luckily I have lots of new friends. And I think that, people always ask me, how do you do it? And I think part of the luck of that all is, other than really taking care of yourself, is to surround yourself with people that are younger, and whether it's a year or 25 years younger than me, who are still moving, and in so doing, encourage me to move along with it. Otherwise, it's, because as you get older, it's really easy to stay home. It's so much more relaxing, and you just stay home. But I'm fortunate that way. Yeah. So yeah, hey, 75, man.
You blew my mind. I mean, the most, I guess, the most I've seen of people in their 70s has been Biden. And that guy can barely put together a sentence.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just like, wow, you're so strong, you're so on it, you're so active. I'm just like,
yeah,
I have no idea.
I'm loving my life. I'm absolutely loving and grateful for everything, including this interview today.
Okay, right on. Well, I'm excited to get to know more of your story.
I'm ready to tell.
Let's dive into it. Where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Okay, so my family's from Kohala, from the Big Island, from Hawaii Island, and of the 12 children that my parents had, I'm the last part of the last 4. And but we last 3 were born here in Honolulu, and we were raised in Kalihi. And from there, we went to different schools and things like that. I started in Kalihi at this place called Wonderland Play Garden, which eventually took me to Fern School. Oh, no, sorry. I first went to Hongaji Mission up in Nu'uanu. And then from there, I went to Fern School in Kalihi. And then I was all set to go to Farrington. I was a Kalihi guy. I was very proud of that fact. And I was going to go to Farrington. And then I ended up going to Kamehameha in my 7th grade year. Graduated there and got a lot of training in speaking and speaking English well. Even though I do love speaking Pidgin, I just think it's delicious and has gained a kind of respect that has long been overdue. And anyway, so I did, and music was really prevalent at Kamehameha too, both in singing and performing it. And then left there and eventually made my way to the university. But while I was at the university, we became, a part of the Sunday Manoa with Peter Moon. And so I never finished my time at the university. I dropped out my junior year. In those days, you had to be there to figure out your schedule. And I was at Clum Gym, and it was very unsuccessful because everything was closed, which really pissed me off. Because I think when you're a junior, nothing should be closed, but it was. And so Roland told me that don't worry about it because we'll be so rich, we can buy our own college. And unfortunately, I listened to my brother. Anyway, so that was my schooling in those years. And then life comes in, and as much as you think you know from school, it's nothing compared to what happens for you in real life.
Totally. I think the biggest lessons are learned outside of the classroom.
I do too.
But going back to your childhood, were you always into music? Or
because my parents played music, and it was their second income to help with the family, and we had such a big family. So both my parents were musicians. My mother was the leader of her own band called Betty and her Leo Aloha, which, Maupopo ya, Kaua, Pilianaka. Leo Aloha. But people thought my father's name was Leo. And so they would call it,
Leo,
they'd say,
Leo.
hey, Leo, how are you doing? You know, my father would just answer,
That's funny.
I'm fine, stuff like that, you know. So she had the band, and so there were instruments in our house all the time, and we just sort of like picked it up. We could sing, though, which was really interesting now, because when I think about the generation that comes from the children of my brothers and sisters, it seems, I mean, some of them can sing, but not too many can play music like how we did, you know, and so the last four of us were the ones who were the real musicians. Everybody else could sing or dance, but that's why music became such a important part of our lives, because it was there at the drop of a hat. We could do it. So, and singing was easy for all of us. We just, in a way, we took it for granted because we thought everybody else could do the same thing. So, yeah. But of course, our house was the house where everybody would gather, and including the neighbors and friends.
The party house.
The party house. Yeah.
Paina. Paina.
Yeah. But Mrs. Yoshimoto's house next to was where the really good food was, you know, so we'd spend a lot of time with them, our friends.
And was hula intertwined in this, or was that through
Hula was intertwined for the sisters and for the the girl cousins, because they were part of my mom's show. She had like a little Polynesian show that we would do. So we played, you know, Tahitian, Hawaiian, and Maori, mostly those three. So that's where the hula came in. But for myself, hula did not really happen until I went to Kamehameha. And my first teacher there in dance would have been Nona Beamer, because she started at Kamehameha. I think it was either during my sophomore or my junior year, which had been like either 65 or 66.
And did they have the song contest and all that?
Oh yeah, song contest.
So were you part of that? Were you? Like
I was a director for my junior year and then my senior year.
Awesome.
And one of the most stressful periods in my life, I tell you.
More stressful than Merry Monarch?
A different kind of stress, but definitely stressful. That's an interesting question. That's really an interesting question. Yeah. So
maybe it prepared you for Merry Monarch.
Nothing prepares you for Merry Monarch. Nothing prepares you to be a teacher. You know, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but when I graduated as a teacher in 72, for real, brother, I honestly, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I thought I did, but I knew nothing. And there were so many questions that I was left with after we were given that kihei, which is that fabric that you tie around. Well, we put it on our left shoulder. Some people put it on the right, but we put it on the left. I had so many questions, but it was a time when questions weren't being answered. It was like more like you just go to class, you just learn. Perhaps we could have asked a question, but it seemed like that was not the time to do it, that it was disrespectful almost, that you just had to be happy that you're there.
You couldn't be too inquisitive.
That you accept whatever's coming your way.
It's like, it's this way because this is how we do it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as compared to song contests, which was, you know, you have all these classmates of yours. Some of them are friends and some of them are not. And some of them can sing and many of them cannot. And some find the worth in it and others could give a shit, you know. So you're trying to work with that. When it's your Hālau, it's a little bit different, you know. But song contest was a trial. So I did it my junior and my senior year. And I don't know if I had to do it all again. I'm not so sure that I would want to do that. Because it's so much easier to just sit in the back and let somebody take all that abuse, I think. And yeah. So
okay. Yeah. So what took over your life more? Was it the music or the hula? Obviously the music, because that's what led you to it Sunday Manoa. But like, what were you more passionate about?
I think you answered your own question.
Okay.
And that is that the music was very, very important to me. Okay. You know, when I say the music is important, that's kind of a semi-lie, because we weren't in it for the culture kind of thing about it. It really was because, and we got into trouble for saying this, but it was a party, brother.
I hear back in the days
it was a party, and we were. How old are you?
I'm 31.
Yeah,
I'm 92.
Because you look like you're 22.
Yeah.
So I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
wow.
and we were in this plane, and we're going to the Waimea Music Festival, the first one that they're ever going to have. Mm-hmm. And the plane is loaded with people who today are considered legends in Hawaiian music. Mm-hmm. You know, we started drinking before the plane took off, you know, and so like Gabby is over here and Eddie them are over there, and Sonny Chillingworth is here, and Loyal Garner is over here, and Angie Genoa is over here, and the plane is just packed. If that plane had crashed, Hawaiian music would have been dead for generations.
That's crazy to think
style
about
of Hawaiian music that is still in danger, by the way, because of it being pushed aside, you know. But I mean, it was an amazing time. And there was so much Hawaiian music to be found in Waikiki, you know. So there were so many local people in town at that time, and everybody was running across the street to go from bar to bar. And that's one of the best things about Hālau right now, because, you know, they ask me, you know, I heard this about the 60s and blah, 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 and is this true? And I was like, yeah, it was a really big party, and we had a great time, not really realizing that we were part of this movement. Even, you know, at the start of it, we had really... Maybe some people had an idea of it, but me and Roland, we were just having ourselves a really good time, and working on our career and meeting people.
Awesome. Yeah. What would you say? Because you've been around for 7 decades.
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
My favorite
decade.
Oh, well, see, now that depends on my personal life. Okay. Whether, you know, if we're talking about music, then I'd have to say it still is one of the most important things. Hula is up there too. So is partying. Even as a 75-year-old, it's a lot more tame than it used to be. But I think the most surprising thing for me in my life right now is how important preservation has become, and continuation, and how terribly unimportant ego has become. I can't speak for everybody, but you know, when I used to go to Merry Monarch, it was almost like a rehearsed line to say, we're here for the culture and to make sure that it continues and stuff like that. And again, this is not for anybody else, it just says for me. When really it was just a freaking ego trip.
Just to get awards, to get the recognition.
Yeah, the recognition and the kind of power that you have as a teacher over a group of people who respect you so much, whether they love you or they hate the hell out of you.
Or they fear you.
Or they fear you.
Or they fear how much they love you.
Yes. Yeah. That's very good. And, you know, and to not be aware of that at that time, because, you know, you're just, not that you're sitting back there and accepting all this glorification, but it's just really easy to get to that point where bring it on, you know? And then reality hits. And the reality for me at that time was the fact that losing at Merry Monarch was one of the best things that could ever happen to me.
Why is that?
It was painful as shit, but it was one of the best lessons to learn, because it made me sit back and really think about, what is this all about? What am I doing really to help what I'm saying I'm doing? Do I really love these kids, or am I using them? And losing did that, you know, because I used to really reinforce the saying of, you know, it's first place or nothing. You came in second place.
It's the first loser.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You know, but it's only 1 point. That's the point. It's 1 point. You know, so letting go of that made it, opened up a lot of freedom of thinking and letting go of lots of negative things that it was nice to be friends again with friends. Because, you know, competition can ruin a friendship, can ruin many friendships.
Well, I hear things about the Merry Monarch and about the hula world. You know Auntie Ko'ula, right? Ko'ula Kamalei.
Of course.
So that's my sister-in-law's mom.
Oh.
So my brother's married to Lei, the daughter.
Oh, nah.
So yeah.
I know your brother.
Oh, yeah, Micah. And...
Well, I played at their wedding.
Oh, yes. I was there. I did the best man speech.
See, I had to leave because I had another gig.
Oh, okay, you missed the best.
So that's why I played for her to dance in the ceremony.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh, wow. So we probably.
And I've known Kaula when she danced with Johnny from the old days.
Yeah,
because
she was
her cousin is one of my
Miss
top
Aloha for Johnny.
Yeah. She's my
awesome.
most favorite. Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that.
Yeah.
But she's my most favorite Miss Hula.
Well, the dance with the peacock dress, right?
I mean, I was there in the auditorium because back then it was at the gym, and she came on stage. Oh, were we at the
no, I think it was at the stadium. I remember the videos at the stadium.
Just and I was like, damn it, man, hello. That peacock is a man. That's a male bird, you know, and it's up there on this body and she is down and up and going at it. And I thought to myself, damn it. Yeah, we became instant pals.
Yeah, so she talks about how back in the days the party and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
If she came on the podcast, she'd probably reveal a lot of stuff that people don't want to know.
You know, I would definitely watch that one. Actually, I would ask you if I could come be here and I'll bring the Diet Coke. But yeah. Oh my gosh, what a small world.
Yeah. Shout out to Auntie Ko'ula. So yeah, I think was it my niece Kani is probably gonna go down the same path and you know, hula and maybe
I see pictures of her because Kaula puts pictures of her
she's so cute.
Yeah. I've asked her several times to dance for us when we did things, and she's just, I tell you, she's a wonder.
Yeah, she's still performing. She performs at Makana.
Fabulous.
Yeah, her too. She I think she's been on keto for like the last couple of years.
Oh yeah. I saw her. Was it 2 years ago that we did? 2 years ago when we did the Ho'ike for Mary Monarch.
Yeah.
And she was there because they honored Johnny.
Yeah. Was it like the 60th year? Or this is the year after Johnny passed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if this is anyway, whenever it was. So yeah. Oh wow, small world.
Yeah, totally. How many Merry Monarchs have you been in?
Not that many, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
So
what was the last
we went
one?
from the last one was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah. We were supposed to go again in 2020, but then COVID hit. So we're gonna go back next year.
Ooh.
Because it's my 50th year of teaching.
Okay, awesome.
So
I'm excited for that.
We're gonna celebrate it with that. So it'll be, you know, like coming round the mountain in a way, because by that time I'll be 76, and I'll be damn if I'm gonna walk on that stage at 86 with a cane or a wheelchair or anything. No, if I can't get up on that stage, I'm not gonna go. So
this is probably the last one.
Maybe I would say, you know, you never can tell. If I still look like and can walk like I do at 75 or 76 when I get there, then things might change. But for the most part, I'll be in Paris.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how many Miss Aloha hulas have you produced?
None.
Oh, you're the guy.
Although there have been boys in my Hālau who wanted to enter Miss Hula.
I answered my own question. But since I brought that up, how come there's no Mr. Aloha Hula? Why?
You know, you'd have to ask them. I don't know. They never had one. Because Merry Monarch started before we even went. You know, it started in I want to say in the 60s, but it could have been in the late 50s. And back then it was, you know, very home style, kind of backyardy. And it wasn't like a big competition. And then it is what it is now.
Wasn't hula never meant to be a competition?
You know, I never liked the idea of competition. And but I get it, and I know why people do it. Besides the fact that it helps, you help make it important, spread the word, help it live,
boost the economy of Hilo. It's the biggest thing in Hilo every year.
And that's the thing about it. I love that it's in Hilo. You know, people used to talk about bringing it to Honolulu, but that's not the point. The point is that Hilo did something really good for Hilo, and they did it in a way that that was Hilo, and I always thought should stay Hilo. You know, when people talk about Hilo, you can't talk about Hilo without mentioning the rain. Or either the rain or the volcano, you know, and I love both of those. And I think that that's what makes Hilo Hilo, and that's why it makes it so important, you know, because I still rather go to Hilo than Kona. And that's not that I don't love Kona.
Yep.
But I mean,
favorite podcast guest of all time, Hilo over Kona. Let's go.
Yeah, because and Hilo to me is still more local. Than Kona is, because you know Kona is just right.
And we got all the hotels.
Itself. Yeah,
we don't have a building higher than the coconut tree in Hilo.
Yeah, so I love that about Hilo, and I just like the fact that Merrie Monarch is in Hilo. I just you know, another thing about that too is television. It's like putting lights in the stadium for baseball or football. You know, it changed the whole dichotomy of the game, the fun of it, and now everything has to be strictly, you know, out by like these many minutes for this, and then you have to take a break and and it takes away from what I think is the movement first of all, and then the importance of it, as well as the idea of it competing, because I like the idea of it. We're just sharing what we do. I love that part, you know. Sharing sometimes kind of scares me, that word, because there are pros to it and there are cons to it. And you never know where anybody's coming from. And for the most part, you know, it is what it is.
Well, since we're on the topic, and we'll go back to the music later. Recently, this past Merrie Monarch, because it's getting so big now, right? And with social media, you have a lot of video clips being shared. Then that leads to comment sections, right? And a lot of people like to share their thoughts and opinions in the comments. Which, you know, back in the day, it was really just word of mouth, you know, gossip here and there. But now it's just open to the public.
Right.
And there's a lot of controversy now because of like how they say like the same Hālau wins all the time. How, oh no, this Miss Aloha should have won. She was better than this one. So how do you feel about all of that?
I think it's there's no way to avoid it. Everybody thinks their own way, and you cannot please everybody. And I'm sure that if your person or your Hālau didn't win, it's really nice to have those other people who say to you, it doesn't matter. If you felt good and your kids felt good dancing, then find your victory in that. And I learned that when we lost, you know, and so there's no way you can stop that, you know. What I do find interesting though is, and I don't like it at all, is when the judges are attacked. It's wonderful to have opinions. Everybody has an opinion, and that's just the way it is. But if you want to go play in somebody's park, and they give you the rules that you have to follow before you enter the park, and you sign the paper saying you understand that, then I think therein is the pudding. There's your proof.
Can't grumble.
Yeah, that for 7 minutes, you were putting everything that you believe in as far as this art form on stage. And these 7 people are going to decide whether they like it or not. Not whether you like it or not, or not whether the audience likes it or not, but whether they like it. And you signed the pala already. You know what's going on with the game. If it's your first time, then maybe you don't. But if you know already, you know, I'm just saying, you just got to play in their field and understand that you signed the paper. But I don't like when the judges get attacked like that.
I mean, it happens a lot, even in sports, right? UFC, boxing.
Exactly. And it's going to happen like that as long as there is competition. Yeah. The minute it becomes a ho'ike, and then it changes that whole understanding of it. And social media, again, pros and cons, run the gamut.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is misunderstandings and also, in a way, ignorance for people that aren't in the world of hula. Because a lot of us, like for example, I grew up with hula, as in like in my Hawaiian immersion school. I wasn't super into it. I was a colored kid that would never really take it seriously. But like seeing like certain dances in Merry Monarch, and you're like, wow, that's like so cool, like objectively. But then you see another one which like more slower and it's not as exciting, but like they do better. You know, from like the objective eye, for somebody who's like doesn't really follow the hula world, the details, the intricacies, and even the judging.
Right.
Then you see a Hālau or say a Miss Aloha hula do better than one that you thought was like so obviously better. And I think it's just because we don't understand. We don't know how it's being judged. We don't know that maybe if one like a kupe'e fell off or came untied and maybe that's what she got marked for or whatever. Like we don't know that stuff. So we're coming at it with like such shallow knowledge and attacking people with such, big passion and like making like we know everything, right? I think that's a problem. And I'm guilty. I mean, I don't share it online. I got my thoughts in my head, right?
Yeah.
So
and not that that's bad, because it is our own individual thoughts. But I just, before you post something, read it 3 times.
Yeah.
Just read it 3 times. Read what you've read, or leave it for a day and then send it the next day if you want to.
Yeah.
But
I know just recently, it was really bad this year. Like I know the Merry Monarch social media had to not let people comment or, stuff like that, just because like it was, people are just getting too nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people who, they're just going by what they see and what they know. But that's why I say it's an important job to get judges. And it's hard for Merry Monarch to get judges, because I don't want to be a judge.
They ask you.
Well, Auntie Luana is just the sweetest person, and you cannot. It's hard to say no. So I just every time I just sort of like walk away fast after I tell her that I love her. Also these people, they know. You have to know the rules. You have to know. Okay, so here we go.
Yeah,
in our culture right now. It's really hard to keep our traditions alive. I did a kamailio one time about music, and the influence of other music upon Hawaiian music, and what do I think about it? And for me, when I think about Hawaiian music, I go back to the 40s and to the 30s, to the big band sounds, and how that kind of sound and influence, and then the big band, the jazzy of it all, affected Hawaiian music, and the singing and the poetry and stuff like that with Hapahaole. So I always think music has been affected by that. When it comes to hula, we have an opportunity to keep something really as pure as possible being the operative words, traditional, and that we have accepted the fact that you can go out of the box, but there are places where you can do it. When you enter a traditional, and this is something Robert Cazimero, or as I like to call myself now, Utu Bang Bang, understood a while ago, which is the fact that this is, there is a difference between entering something that is traditional and having a ho'ike where you can be out of the box.
For like Mark Kili'iho Omalu, right? He does
like Mark Kili'iho Omalu,
yeah.
like Johnny Lamho used to be in the old days. Like I used to be in the like Frank Hewitt. We used to be called in our younger years before you guys was born. We were called the rebels of hula. Johnny Lamho, Frank Hewitt, and myself. You know, my Hālau was known for the men moving their hips because according to so-and-so, men do not move their hips when they dance. Why are they doing that? So we were cut down for it for a while, you know, whenever we danced it. And then suddenly everything that we were being penalized for or thought badly of, if it was social media, it would have been right up there. Was suddenly being validated by others doing the same thing. And now, because everybody was doing it, it's not so avant-garde. You know,
you were ahead of your time.
That's what they said. I never thought I was ahead of my time, but maybe I was. I'm not sure. But it sure fits in well with what I'm doing today, because now others have helped to make what I do seem scarily traditional. So, yeah, you're always going to have, you can't satisfy everyone. And as long as you're happy and you're happy, your kids, with what your guys or gals have done, then find that happiness.
Okay, cool. Recently, I took hula again. I was
good.
Last year, I think it was last year. I was too busy to continue it, but I just took it because I just wanted to, you know, get back into, give myself another chance because I just never took it seriously in, you know, Kula Kaiapuni. So I enjoyed it. I was with Kumu John up in Manoa. I don't know if you know him. He's a Hawaiian Airlines flight attendant. Okay, maybe you if you see him, you probably recognize.
Okay,
he's friends with Auntie Kola. And then I thought one thing that I learned that was interesting is the different styles of the uehe. Because so traditionally in like schools and whatever, what we would learn is like you open to the side. But when Kumu-jan was teaching us, he was making us go up, like forward.
Right.
And I didn't know that there was a difference. Do you know the story of that? Or could you educate us on that? Because I don't want to, I kind of remember because like the women was like, they would, I don't know if she was like pregnant or something. That's why I don't know if I'm getting the story mixed up. Do you know the story?
I don't.
Okay,
I don't.
okay.
Well, I've heard something about it, but I don't really know the story. I do know that I was told that the traditional one is kicking forward, going forward rather than opening up. And but I learned in my Hālau to open up. And so but I mean when I see it now, I can understand why this would be more traditional, because this is opening the thighs that way, and it looks too provocative.
Yeah.
But that's what's so interesting too, because we just had that FestPac thing.
Yeah.
And I'm watching all these other wonderful countries that are coming to perform. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, no wonder when those foreigners came to our land and saw us dancing, that it just freaking blew their minds. Because if you're going to come from New England with whatever kind of prissiness that you have, that's going to, blow your mind. Because my mind was being blown by what I was seeing on stage, although I loved it. And then I look at us, and we have become so well occupied in mind and body and everything that we've toned down so much of our stuff. It was just so interesting for me to see. So to me, it goes back to whether you're going to be going forward with your uehe or if you're going to be opening up. And I'm just going to say, I'm for the opening up.
I mean, Hawaiians were, sexual, especially with the like the melemai and stuff like that. We were open about that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's just part of the culture.
I think so too. And I think that we, in our own way, had to be more honest about it. So, and it's part of our culture and what we do.
Yeah, totally.
But now, see, it's good to be proud. Back in my days, long time ago, it wasn't. You know, it was a shameful thing to be a man dancing hula. It's really interesting too, because I had this one boy dance with me who, at the time he came, nobody told me that he was 12 years old. He was over 6 feet tall. So I just assumed, you know. But anyway, his mother said to me one day, she said, you know, my life is really interesting. Because my friend said, I told my friends, I got to take my kids to hula. And so, and her friend said to her, oh, your daughter is dancing. And she goes, no, my son dances hula. I'm taking my daughter to wrestling, which I thought was absolutely great. And the friend saying to her, oh, instead of what? There are things about people in general and culture and things that are so surprising because of how we have been, our thinking has been altered.
Well, yeah, I think that comes from more of a Western mindset than, you know, traditional Hawaiian. Because, like, men dance hula. Yeah. People dance. I mean, that's just part of our culture.
Yeah. Here's the thing, I think. Every culture that has a dance form has male dancers. Everyone. Except maybe the Western world. So
yeah, something interesting to think about. Yeah. Okay, well, mahalo for sharing that. And if anybody knows that story about like why people uehe forward and sideways, like let us know, comment below, because I can't remember the whole story.
Be prepared though, because you're gonna have all kinds.
I love that. I love hearing all the different stories and perspectives.
You're a brave
so
man.
Cool. Yeah. So going back to your music career, so after you graduated, you went with Peter Moon, Sunday Manoa, you and your brother, and you know, you guys just became legends from that point on. What was that whole time in your life like?
At the beginning, like I said, it was really a party period. But also at the beginning, I think for both Roland and I, the opportunity to play music and to be able to say hi to Gabby Pahinui, and he'll say, hey, they called me Bobby back then. Hey, Bobby, or something like that, you know, or Boss. That was another good one too. Hey, Boss, was a thrill. You know, Linda Dela Cruz and the Halekulani girls and Auntie Vicky E. Rodriguez and Auntie Alice Namakiloa and all these people, to be able to sit down and talk with them and they know your name. You know, it was like, it blew my mind. Mahi Beamer and Sunbeam Beamer, and to me, that was already a amazing gift. You know, as far as playing music is concerned, it was a toss-up. You just never really knew what was going to happen. You never knew who was going to be in the audience, and it was a constant reinventation. Is that a correct word? Reinventing.
Okay. Maybe it's a new word now.
of playing old music in a new style and getting excited about it and having people get excited about it too. Because once you get the attention of people in the excitement of what it is you're doing, whether it's music or art or sports or anything like that, it makes it easier to bring about the traditional part of it, because their minds are opened up a little bit more. And so in the middle of all this, then you do one song like, and everybody goes, wait, what is this now? What is that all about? You know, well, where I live, there are rainbows and stuff like that. It was an opportunity to teach as well as learn what it is that we found important and why. It was important. And it was a good time because everybody now wanted to be a part of it. It didn't matter whether you're Hawaiian or Japanese or Pake or Haole. It became a unifying factor if you were local. Hawaiian, yes, which was really good. But locals in general, it was a chance for us brownies to gather together. And it doesn't mean that you have to be brown either, because you know, Hawaiians, we're incognito. We come in so many colors. And so it was a great way of bonding together. That's what the music did.
And music brings people together, right?
Yeah. So we did that from 69 to 75. In 75 is when the Sunday Manoa, So, and then in that period, in the early 70s, Peter started this Ho'ike program at the university called Kanikapila. Mm-hmm. And the whole reason for Kanikapila, it happened around Aloha Week back then. And the whole reason of it really was to let people know who the Sunday Manoa was. Sunday Manoa was Sunday Manoa before Roland and I joined the group. There was already a Sunday Manoa. And before then, there was Bla Pahinui that was in it, Baby Kalima, even Palani Vaughn at one time was a part of it. And then we were the last Sunday Manoa before it was disbanded. And then it became Peter Moon Band after we left. But we had a great deal of success with it. And it was fun. It was really fun. It was also tumultuous at times because, we didn't get along that well sometimes with Peter. But for the most part, it was really good. And then in 75, things changed. And Roland and I were asked to meet with Jack DeMello. And he had his Music of Polynesia, and he wanted to know if we work together. Through Jack, then we met John, his son, and then when John was ready to start his own, we went with John. Mm-hmm. And that lasted all the way until into the late 90s, the 200s, until Roland's health started to deteriorate, and then it got to be really bad. But that was a really progressive time for us too. As the Brothers Cazimero. But thank goodness for the notoriety, let's say, that we got as a Sunday Manoa because, that
catapulted your
Aloha
career.
and the respect from that time, carries me to today. I mean, the young kids, a lot of them don't know who I am, which I'm really fine with because now I like sitting in Starbucks and nobody knows who I am. Although people my age come in and they'll go, "Hey, Robert." Then I say hi.
Do you like being recognized, or do you like you like your personal space?
I don't mind it, but I get embarrassed because how many times can you say thank you? Oh, I love your music, and this is the cutest part. People always want to remind me of a certain time that they had when they were there with us.
That's what music does. It brings you back to those specific events.
It does the same thing for me too. So I've learned to become more patient with that too. Yeah. And to be able to do interviews like this one with you, I mean, I wasn't always comfortable being able to do it, but I had a friend who was a teacher at Kamehameha, Judy Nanioli Wise, and she was a speech teacher. And after I graduated from Kamehameha, she would ask me back to speak to the classes. And I told her, "Why are you doing that?" And she goes, "Because you're in the public now. You're going to have to talk more. And I want you to be able to communicate to everybody there." So she would make me go. And then she would have her students critique me, what I could do better, what they didn't feel was real and stuff like that.
Were you open to that?
I had to be because I had put myself in that position, and I learned so much from that, and I think that the proof is in the opportunity when I'm on stage because it's not difficult at all. You have to. I think you know this too. You have to be able to be strong and secure in who you are because you never know what's going to be shot back at you.
Yeah, confident in who you are. Yeah, because no matter what anybody says, you're going to be able to, accept it.
So I think that the whole thing with performance and music and being on stage was a very important part of who I am, how I turned out today. Yeah.
Awesome. What was the decision like leaving Sunday Manoa? Was it because
the decision was made for us?
Oh, so you had no choice.
Yeah. So because Peter just said, this is it. After we finished we were playing at the that place called Rumfire. It's at the Sheraton.
Yeah.
Back then, in our time, it was known as the Prow Lounge, and we were performing there. And we had a long gig there. And then one night after we finished, he said, at the end of one particular section of time, he said, "Okay, that's it. We're done." And it was over.
So
just like that.
So you couldn't really do anything about it. So you guys were like, "Yeah, what do we do next?"
Yeah.
Brothers Cazimero. Also, how come you chose Brothers Cazimero over Cazimero Brothers?
Yeah. So you're so good. You're really good. Come on, you are. We didn't know what we were going to do. And there were, Cazimero Brothers came in. And so by this time, I was kind of like taking hula from Mikey. And she was the first one to mention the Brothers Cazimero. She said, think about the Brothers Cazimero. When we met with Jack DeMello, he said, "Well, I like the Brothers Cazimero." And then another friend of mine later on said, "Hey, you can't be like the Beamer Brothers. You got to turn it around. Maybe you got to be like the Brothers Cazimero." And Mikey always used to say to us, if you hear something said 3 times in three different places, then pay attention, because it's like the universe that's talking to you, And so when we met with Jack again, he said, "So what do you guys want to be called?" And I said, "The Brothers Cazimero." So
that's such a good ring to it.
Yeah. So because the Beamers were very popular at that time too. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
Just like it was supposed to.
And that's pretty much been like how my life has been. Things falling pretty nicely into place.
Yeah. Well, you just being open to the opportunity and capitalizing on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you were with your brother Roland, you guys started the Brothers Cazimero. What was your first big break that you realized, like, oh wow, this is gonna be a big thing, just like the Sunday Manoa was?
I think it would have been the first gig that we had as the Brothers Cazimero, and it was in downtown Honolulu at a place called Territorial Tavern. And so it was on Bishop Street. And then, when you get to the big intersection between Bishop Street here and Aloha Tower, it was that building on the left-hand side, that old-fashioned, beautiful building. And it was a place in there on the corner called Honolulu Tavern. What was it called now? Territorial Tavern.
Okay.
And I remember, because, we were nervous. We hadn't done anything together, and it was just really scary. And then started to get better. And I was like, maybe this is gonna work out.
Yeah. Well, with Sunday Manoa, you two were more ancillary pieces, and then with this, you came to the forefront, right? Like you were the star.
Yeah. Well,
right?
No, I wouldn't say I was the star. I would say that I was the spokesman.
Okay.
So because I was the one speaking,
I got the face,
and also too because I had the voice.
Yeah.
Peter had the guitar, and Roland was the whole orchestra. So, but so this is what I used to think. Peter was the kind of like odd guy that got. He was the party one, maybe more. So he got that kind of attention. Roland was like the face. He was the handsome one that
in Sunday Manoa.
Okay. That all the chicks wanted to hit on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there was me, the fat, comfortable, jolly, friendly guy, which is totally opposite of what I am, because basically I'm kind of quiet and I'm really happy to just stay home, especially now. But we kind of like covered the gamut on what people were going to be able to see, and you could find a friend within the group itself.
Oh, okay, cool. So, what was the age difference between you, Peter?
Roland and I were a year apart. He was a year younger, and Peter was, I think, either 2 or 3 years ahead of us.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you guys were around the same age. So very young. Yeah. Wait, who else was in Sunday Manoa?
Just the 3 of us.
Oh, is
in our group? It was just the 3 of us. Oh, and then if we did shows or recordings, and like Gabby would come and stuff like that. But when Peter started that Kanikapila thing, it was a cavalcade of stars that were invited to be a part of it, so that it would bring their people in so they could find out who we were.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so Sunday Manoa was there for a while, so it was always Peter and and other people.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it was just Peter and you two.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you and Roland were performing. You guys got really comfortable. 25 Nā Hōkū Hanohano Awards later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
And then, you know, that thing about the Grammy Awards, we went and did that, and it didn't turn out well. It was supposed to be better, but it just fell apart. And then the proof is in the pudding today. It's almost like shoved aside, like it's a side music kind of a thing.
What do you mean? What happened?
This is just Robert Cazimero's take on it. I don't find any important in an award coming from the mainland that's trying to tell me that our music is worthy of this award.
I got it.
We have our own people here that can tell us that this is worthy of what we do. You know.
Well, that's why they said the Nā Hōkū Hanohano Awards are the Grammys of Hawaii.
And I hate that too, because it shouldn't be.
It should just be.
But it's different now from when it first started, because it was, you know, all about Hawaiian music. But now there's so diversified.
So many genres, right?
Yeah, you hardly hear so much of the Hawaiian. And that's why I think one of the very last times I went, I said that my acceptance award was that we're at war to try and keep our music going, you know. And I remember back when Roland and I and Peter started with the Sunday Manoa, and people like Auntie Napua and Auntie Alice Namokelua them and Nohelani's mom them, they were worried, you know, because we were bebopping the music. And that they said that right on the radio. Those kids are bebopping the Hawaiian music, you know. And I can understand why they were worried. And then the Sunday Manoa eventually started to become, as much as we took it out of the box, things began to change. And then by the time we got to Brothers Cazimero, it took a really different change, because it became a bit more traditional in its being out of the box, because more groups are coming up now that were actually taking a contemporary musical style farther away from the home base kind of a thing. At least that's just the way I see it. Nobody else has to see it that way. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah. That's what you're here to do, is share your perspective on it. So what was some of your most fondest memories of the Brothers Cazimero?
Oh gosh, there really were so many, but playing music with Roland was I didn't realize how lucky I was until now, after he's gone. Roland used to always say that, you know, I'd be the singer in the front and he'll be the orchestra in the back. And he was. He covered all the bases. We sang together like we were singing 3 or 4 part harmony, because we would just change all the time. It is one of the greatest learning lessons in my life, because it was so easy. We knew when each other was going to move without even looking at each other after a while. You could tell just by a pull of a string, or by the turn of a head, or the way a note went into a next note. I mean, and the things that he would do on the guitar. There are times when I would look at him and I'd go, "Son of a bitch, what is that you're playing?" He goes, no, it's just something I heard on the radio. I was like, what? He goes, it's this group, you can go listen to them. And I can't stand to listen to that, like, you know, metal type stuff. And Roland listened to all that stuff, you know. And then he would just fool around on the guitar. And I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but I like that. You know, let's do that.
Cool.
And so moments with Roland like that were amazing. And then as he got, his health began to diminish, it became more difficult. More difficult. But I miss those. And then as far as performances are concerned, you know, everybody wants to know about Carnegie Hall. Everybody used to ask us, well, what was it like performing at Carnegie Hall? It was nice. I think it was good. I'm not so sure. But you want to talk to me about those parties on Duval Street in Kapahula at Sam Kapu's house? No, that concert there in the yard at the luau table under the shade, That's what I'm talking about. Parties in Kalihi at our house on Palena Street. Them's the concert that people would never, ever see or know, but they were the best ones. And then we used to do these shows at Christmas time. All our shows at Christmas time were special. But there was a certain amount of years that we did Christmas shows in San Francisco. And there was this one time when we had just started the show. And the whole area of Chinatown and into the financial area where we were performing, the electricity went off in that whole area, and it stayed off for a long time. And we had just started the show, and our sound guy at the back had one of these flashlights, but it was one of the big ones like this. And I was talking, and it was in the dark, and he just put it on to shine on me, and we did the show like that with just that one. And that was one of my favorite shows.
Oh, that's so cool.
The other one is whenever we could do shows in Waimea, Hawaii Island, at the Kahilu Theater or Kahilu Theater. Anytime we can do a show in Waimea is special to me. And I remember one time we performed, and Roland his album, the Pele album, had just come out, and we were doing a Pele song, and there was an earthquake, and so they have Kahilu Theater. They have those hanging lanterns.
I've never been there, but
okay, so they have the hanging, and we're singing, and the lanterns are swaying like this in the building, and I was like, "Do we stop and run out of the building?"
Is that a sign to keep going or stop?
Yeah. So, and there have been other times in between. There have been so many wonderful times. And those concerts that we used to do when Punana was first starting and they needed the help, we would do every single one. I mean, I flew the Hālau to Hilo one time because Kaua was a Kaunoi, Kamana Wilson. She was a dancer of my hula sister, Lena Alahaini Kalama.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so Kaua would be in our shows, whenever we did shows together with Allah and Christmas concerts and stuff like that. So that, plus the fact that we're all good friends, when they needed help, we just all show up. And we did as many of them as we could until they actually started the school in Hilo, and then every once in a while we would go. Yeah.
I really want to get Kumu Kamana and Pila on the podcast.
Yeah, I would love to be. Can you invite me?
Totally.
I'll just sit quietly.
Yeah, well, by then I think we're gonna have a different couch set up, and then we're gonna have like a couch over there so people can like watch and just hang out.
You should. That's gonna be great.
Yeah, I got their number. I've just been I haven't reached out yet. Also, I thought I've never spoken English to them. Or not Pila, because he teaches all kind of different stuff. Like, he taught us Latin and like other stuff. But Kumu Kamana, I've never spoken English to her, so it'll be so weird doing the whole podcast in English.
Do you know Kalena Silva too?
Yes. Why does that sound so familiar?
Yeah, he's at the university. Kulanui, Mahilo.
Okay.
He kauka oya.
Kauka.
Yeah,
Amana Kula Kaukuni.
No.
Wahelo I Navahi?
Nā Hōkū ke Kulanui.
Oh, Kulanui Mahilo.
Yeah, and he's the head, I think, of the Hawaiian doctorship.
Okay. Dang, but that name sounds so
my
familiar.
other Hiapo,
Pereira
is my adopted baby.
What?
Yeah, so Hiapo's father was Roland's martial arts teacher.
Oh, wow.
And I knew Hiapo because he was the son, but I also knew Hiapo when he was in school, and he and his pals used to come over to
Kamehameha, sorry.
Yeah. So him and Kalai'antai.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they would come to the house and we'd play music and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And then Poki'i plays music, his younger brother.
Oh, yeah. So, so I know all that. But Kalena is my hula brother. So we graduated from the same Lehua class from Mikey.
Wow, all these crazy connections.
Yeah.
You know, Kumihafa was the most scariest teacher in Hawaii.
She can be scary. Yeah. We were really really good friends. And it was so funny because this year, was it this year? Oh, yeah, I was having a birthday party and I wanted them to come. She and Namaka.
Namaka.
Roland.
Yeah.
What do you call her?
Anake Namaka.
Okay.
These are just all Anake, Kumu, Po'okumu.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. So pili wau me ke lau Hanake Kahi.
Oh, okay.
And
Anake Pua?
I. But pili oia me ku'utita hula o Leina Alahaini Kalama. Pili loa. Ka ohana ke kahi. But yeah, so I told them I wanted them to come, and then they couldn't come because they were getting ready to do the ho'ike at Mary Monarch, because they honored Punana Leo. So I said, okay, so me and Kaipo, who I told you about earlier, because we're all pals, I said, we're going to fly up there, we'll have lunch together, then we'll come home. I still haven't done it yet, so.
Ooh.
I know. And I got to do it before the year is done, because otherwise.
Yeah.
Mai ka'i ole.
Yeah.
So,
wait, so you know Ivalani too? Ivalani
Kalima?
Hanohano.
Ivalani Hanohano.
She works for...
Oh, yeah.
So that Ohana, my sister is dating Malu, the younger brother.
Oh, I don't know that.
But that Ohana, you know, they used to cater Mary Monarch for so long, right? The Kuli Hanohano family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like my extended Ohana now too. So, yeah, and she used to be good friends with Namaka. So when we have like my niece's first birthday and nephew's first birthday, like Namaka would be there, Nakala Crab,
Mika Kaokele.
Kaokele, yeah. So all of them.
And let's see, and the boys. Namaka's sons. I can see their faces, and I can't. Well, now I'm getting old. I'm having a senior moment. Makala is the baby. Well, he's just always the baby, and then his older. I can't believe I can't.
I'm not super familiar with them, but Līlīlehua he helped us. He was one of my kumu that Punana Leo.
I knew Līlīlehua when he was in his mother.
Yeah.
Him and his Kili too.
Yeah.
I love those two. Every time I see Kili, I just love them. Love them.
Yeah. It's so cool when I talk with more people how I didn't realize how cool the people I was around were. Like I didn't know that I was growing up around like people that were like huge figures in this Hawaiian language movement.
Yeah.
I took it all for granted.
Yeah.
But when I talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, those are like the people.
Yeah. They really are. And that's how I feel about the people that we met with Sunday Manoa or with the Brothers Cazimero.
Yeah, in the music world,
because,
right?
Because I'd always heard of them, but we weren't raised knowing that we had so many heroes.
That's a good way to put it.
And that's, to me, is one of the things that I want to work real hard at, and making sure that people know that we have heroes. I did a show one time on the mainland, and I just blurted it out. And after I said it, I thought to myself, oh shit, I wish I never said that. But what I said was, I was talking about Kamehameha, and I thought to myself, here's the truth. Growing up, I knew more about goddamn George Washington. I knew more about him than I knew about Kamehameha the Great. I pledge allegiance to the flag, and I should be doing Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. Oia ka mea nui I ka uola, I ka umanao. I ke ia manawa, but I kela manawa, awena ho'i e. So I try and talk about that as much as possible. Because, most of my people, my time, they're gone. I'm one of the very few left. I talk to, there's me, when it comes to the entertainers from that time, there's me, there's Melvin, there's Marlene Sai, and there's Nina Keli'i Wahamana. Pretty much, I think Danny Kaleikini was probably one of the last ones, the most recent ones from our time now. So, yeah.
And then you mentioned earlier, I don't know if it's when we were recording or before we recorded, how so your mom was a manaleo, right?
Yeah.
But they never taught you because that was during the time where it was
more important to learn English.
Yeah, and then they would get punished if they would, and they just wanted you to assimilate to American culture, right? And ideology and that whole Western movement. Do you ever wish she taught you Hawaiian?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Because I think what I wish I could do now is I wish that I could be in, because sometimes, like, when I'm with them or whatever, or even with my students and we're talking in Hawaiian, I think about my mother sitting right here and looking at me and going, I can't believe this is my son speaking Hawaiian, and her other children, my other brothers and sisters, some of them tried too, but it was difficult because, it's very, very difficult to learn another language. But, and there's so many idiosyncrasies that happen when you learn a language and when different words meaning so many things at the same time, or that kind of a thing. But I think that's my biggest hope, is that if as she's watching, that she's proud. Yeah.
But she, like, I think you mentioned, right? Like, she would say, that's not the Hawaiian we learned when we spoke.
Yeah. Right? and she loved pila and she loved lale. That part I knew. And I knew that she was proud of what they were doing. So I have no qualms in believing that she'd be very happy to be here today. And I would love to have been back then. Been able to do this back then, or to understand, so that when she spoke to my aunt, my favorite aunt, that's when they would talk Hawaiian, only the two of them. I didn't even know my father understood Hawaiian until he was pretty much on his deathbed. But I wish I could know now what they were talking about back then. I bet it would have been very interesting.
Yeah, and just the way they spoke was different, right?
Yeah.
And the words they used,
and the slangs that they had,
idioms.
Yeah, they would talk. The other thing that they would use was Pig Latin. She and my aunts would say it a lot, and
I don't understand that. I know some people that's like,
I can do when I was in really well.
When I was in school, some girls would be talking that I'm like I don't even know what they're saying.
Yeah,
or how that.
And even in that, they would make up their own words and ways of saying it and stuff, and that was my clue to it. But they probably do the same thing with Hawaiian. So
interesting. Yeah, I would love to just be back, be a fly on the wall.
Yeah,
back in those times, right?
We can be flies on the wall.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, well, we have a bunch of social media questions for you.
Okay.
I'm going to take a quick shishi break and we'll be right back. What if we told you the next 3 times you fill your tank, you could save money? Well, at Texaco in Hawaii, it's true. You can get $1 off per gallon on your next 3 visits when you download the Texaco app and join Texaco Rewards. Earn points on every fuel transaction and qualifying in-store purchases at participating Texaco stations. Download the app and join to get started today. Visit TexacoHawaii.com for details. All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Let's get right into the social media fan questions.
Let's get into it.
Yes. This is a must-needed shishi break, by the way. Okay. First question comes from William Kendo. He says, Bonjour from France. Kumu, how will you be celebrating your 50th anniversary?
Oh my. Bonjour, monsieur. I will be celebrating by having a succession of concerts here, California, and Japan.
Ooh.
Awesome. Also, 2 big, we're planning to do, I know for right now, 2 concerts on, our birthday is actually on the same day as Kamehameha Day, June 11th.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to do our concert, I think, sometime in fall, and it's going to be 2 days. So it'll be Saturday night and Sunday matinee. So the first half of the show will be on Saturday night.
Okay.
And then it's an intermission, and then come back Sunday for the second half.
Okay. And this is going to be next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next year. That's in 2025. And probably, I think the theater will probably be, our friends are at Leeward Community College, so we'll probably do it there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I think so too.
Go check it out, everybody. Okay, the next question comes from Pele_Kayao. This person says, were there times you struggled as a kumu hula? How did you overcome those times?
I still struggle as a kumu hula. I swear. I think that even more so now, I wonder if I'm doing the best I can for my haumana? Am I doing the best I can for myself as well? And there are several things that I'm working really hard on. And one of them would be, of course, the whole idea of some kind of a continuation. Not exactly like how I would do it, but to be there as a support for them to do it the way they want to do it, with an understanding with a real important understanding that there is there's a foundation that we come from, that I have my teacher and my teacher's teacher's teacher and my teacher's 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 teacher, that now that you're going to go on to maybe become a teacher in hula, or maybe work in the language or food preparation, or work in the courts or whatever, that you do so with the fact that you have this foundation that you can find strength from, to help you understand that you can do it, that we have to do it, and that we are worthy of doing it, because we are not always given those kinds of positive input. You're fat, you're lazy, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. That don't fly anymore for me. You can do it. You can do anything you really want to do. And there'll always be people who will tell you can't. I tried to quit being a kumu. I went to my teacher 3 times to tell her, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this. And although she didn't use these exact words, she did. It was sort of like along the lines of, look, you drank the Kool-Aid already. There's no way you can turn back now.
Yeah.
And so,
Kamalei.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're still really active, like you teach every week? Or
every Sunday.
Every Sunday?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So we have, we just did that Prince Lot Festival on Saturday. And then we have a fundraiser coming up in October for Mary Monarch next year.
Okay, awesome.
So we still keep going.
Is it open to the public? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing about it is that we try and get it open to the public, but our venues are not the largest ones. Like, we don't do anything anymore. Hardly anybody does, like at the NBC or big. They're hard to find big halls. Hawaii theaters, it's kind of expensive now to do. So we don't have that many seats available. And then we sell out fast.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll let you know.
Well, yeah, understandably.
Yeah.
Kind of a legend.
Kind of. Whatever that means. Yeah.
Okay, next question comes from Seattle_Poi_company. They say,
no kidding.
Give him our love, please. Palika and Dana. Dana?
Yeah. Okay. It is. Yeah. There's sun dances for me.
Okay, well. Giving you their aloha.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. And I'll text her afterwards to say thank you.
Okay, right on. All right. Next question comes from Brandon.m808. Will you be returning to Mary Monarch, and will this potentially pakiki ka olelo pelakania. Will this potentially be the last one?
Yes, we will be going to Mary Monarch next year, and it could potentially be my last one.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on how this health holds up.
Okay, cool. So just again to confirm that,
confirm.
He will be at Mary Monarch next year. And then follows up with, how would your students describe you as a kumu hula? How do you describe yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. I wish some of them were here so they could answer that for you. But I think that depending on when they were in Hālau, after you've been teaching for 49 years, I've changed as a teacher from when I first started, because at the time that I started that Hālau in 1975, I was
in your 20s, yeah?
25. And they were all in high school. Like maybe lucky if they were 17. And so I didn't know how else to be than literally an asshole. I was mean, and I would yell at them and I would demean them because I didn't know how else to get their attention until I forced them to respect me and to love me. And then after that, they weren't teenagers anymore. And then suddenly I had to listen to them to hear what they had to say. And that was another interesting thing that happened as far as the progression of being a teacher is concerned, is that I learned so much about how to be a good teacher once I let my students talk.
Mm.
Instead of saying you need to do A, B, C, and you have to be there, but this time, instead of that, to be able to say, what do you think about this? Do you have an idea of what's going on here? Do you have any questions about why I said that before? Do you know why I said that? Or to be able to explain to them that I had no idea that my style of teaching was going to change so much, because that's just how life is.
Mm-hmm.
Things change as you go along. So I may not be the strict kind of like really not listening to anybody else but myself teacher that I was back then, into this almost like too kind and too soft, because the old ones are waiting for me to just ram it down their throats. And there are some times when I have to, but for the most part, I don't anymore, because I think it's part of me having them accept themselves as grown-ups, and the fact that now you take responsibility for what it is you have to do. I don't need to tell you, because you should know already.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that's a cool realization. And
it is.
Life
it really
reflection.
is, and it's freeing.
Yeah,
it's very freeing, and
it just came with time.
Yeah,
it's maturation, life.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
awesome.
And like I said, all good stuff.
Okay. Next question comes from Kimberly_Ray. She's a super fan. She leaves questions all the time. So, yeah. Shout out to you, Kimberly. What if you could pick one important lesson you would... Wait, sorry. What if you could pick
there are so...
What if you could pick up... What if you could pick one important lesson you would love to share for us? Something you have learned.
I think I just did, which is... because it like I said, it's one of the most important things I was able to understand, was to listen to my students, that they have great opinions and they have great thoughts, and there's so much creativity that is in them.
Mm-hmm.
One of my students said to me the other day, all of this wouldn't be possible if I didn't start taking hula from you. And I said, well, some of it, yes. I said, but for the most part, and Mikey told me this years ago, and that is, there's something in each of us. When I was chosen to be your teacher, it was already in you. My job was then to bring it out of you. So I can take some credit for it, but most of it goes back to you. Now, as a student, hearing my teacher say that to me, I'm thinking to myself, even more so, no, it goes back to you. So I understand when they say back to me, oh, no, you don't understand. And I'm thinking, yeah, I do, but you have to be able to say it.
Yeah, so, well, you provided the soil.
Yeah.
And then they grew and they sprouted.
That's an even better. Can I use that?
Yes,
I'll
totally.
send you residuals at the end of the year.
Just tag me.
Yeah. But that's one of the most, listen to the people around you, the ones closest to you too. It might be difficult, because, let me just rephrase that. It's going to be difficult at times, but I really believe that it's a healthy and helpful way to move forward.
Totally. I think the beauty of life is that we can also be learners, even if you become a teacher.
Yeah.
Whether that's in your career or a leader at some sort of position, depending what you do, the hierarchy changes. But even if you're at the top, you can still learn, and you can still take in new things and new ideas, new perspectives. And I think the time where you aren't learning and you aren't open to anything new is when life doesn't become as good. and life is gonna teach you lessons because you won't listen to these other lessons that people are trying to teach you, and then you're gonna run into a wall and be like, wow, I was very I was an a-hole, or I just blocked everything off. And if I just opened up my ears and my mind, I could have learned so much.
Yeah, and you were saying running into that wall, and then you don't even realize that you ran into the wall.
Yeah, you turn around, your face is all smashed.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like we could all see it.
yes, that's very, very true.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the best things that I could pass on. Listen when people talk.
Never think you know everything.
No,
I think that's something I learned.
You'll be proved wrong at the drop of a hat.
Yeah,
I tell you. And then I would like that other question that you asked about what would I say to my students, but I would about my students or about teaching. I would love to hear what they have to say. And that cannot happen in a halau where all you have is young people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have people who have been with you for a while, because then you actually have something to talk about, and then, I've been really fortunate too, because, I've never charged for hula.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because my kumu told me it's an honor for a man to dance for you.
Mm.
And if you can find just one, then you're really lucky. Well, I've had more than my share.
Mm-hmm. Is that a normal thing to charge people for halau these days?
I mean, she did for her, but I never paid.
Oh, okay.
So I figured if that's what she did for me, then I'm supposed to do the same thing.
Mm.
So that's why we have fundraisers, so that we can buy costumes and go to Merry Monarch, because nothing is cheap, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, cool. That's good to know. So it incentivizes us to contribute to these fundraisers, because you are doing this service for others.
And it's so funny too, because I was thinking the other day, I've never gone on social media to open up classes.
Mm-hmm.
Classes have always been by invitation only, and that's because I don't charge, and because I figured, well, then at that I can, if I see somebody and I think they might want it, they can come.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, well, maybe I should try that social media thing. I put it on there, and then I took it right off because I got so scared. But I don't know, maybe one of these I go, I'm looking for 5. Just 5. I just want 5.
Well, I think if you put a limit, like first come, first serve, or like you could even say 5, and then you kind of handpick the ones you want.
And then, because I'm talking to Kwana, because we're good pals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he started his halau, And so he was telling me about how he was able to do it, and he's gotten so many. And I'm thinking, I don't want that many.
Mm-hmm.
I just need a little bit. I don't need a lot, So I have a class now with 5 that just started, but I could use 5 more, I think.
Okay, cool. Maybe one of them could be the future Mr. Aloha Hula once they add that to the Merry Monarch.
Then he'd have to go dance for somebody else. I'm not entering anybody for a Mr. Hula. Yeah.
Do you think that'll ever happen? It's just
the keiki do?
Oh,
the keiki have that Master Hula.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, if it did happen,
are you open to it?
I would be open to it, but I wouldn't necessarily enter, because we go to Merry Monarch every 10 years.
Yeah.
So
has that ever been like a conversation amongst like Anake Luana?
Never amongst us. Yeah. About my group, no.
Okay, or even like in the Merry Monarch committee.
Not that I've been to. No.
Okay.
No. There might have been, but I don't know.
Okay.
Because otherwise, then it's going to be like going to the mainland where they have it like 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
And like,
it's already long.
Yeah, it's like from 6 to 6.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I'd make it.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from iDews. This question says, which kumu hula and halau do you miss seeing at Merry Monarch?
Do I miss seeing?
Oh, yeah. Which kumu hula and halau do you miss seeing at Merry Monarch?
Okay, I just have to be, this could not be a good answer, but I would have to say that more than missing the halau, I miss the teachers. Like friends, like Daryl Lupinui. I miss seeing him. I miss my dear Lena Alahaini Kalama, and I love knowing that her halau is flourishing still because of her daughters. Yeah, so those two. I miss Johnny, but I think Johnny is represented well now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. check them out next year.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question comes from noahs.arc. This person says, favorite Brothers Cazimero song. Always love dancing to your guys' song.
Oh, too many. Too many favorite songs. Although, when you just asked that right now, Ine, I thought about Kamalei o Keokaha. Because of that one thing that I remember going to rehearsal and Roland was fooling around on the guitar, and while we were talking, he just started doing that introduction that goes that la da 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 da, and then I came in on that Nani Puana, and I was never a coffee drinker, and we were in Waimea. And one of the girls who was in the show with us, PE, said, I think on the intermission said, I think I'm going to have some coffee. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, you want some? I was like, not really. I'm not a coffee drinker. She says, you should try it. So I had one and I said, I don't feel anything. She said, so I had 2 cups. When I got on stage, the caffeine thing hit me and Roland was doing that. And I was like, it was like I was on a high or something. And I looked at him and I remembered this thing because I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, just playing this. I said, it's so beautiful. It's like Mufasa. And then, and I just took off after that because the caffeine just started kicking in. But Kamalei o Keokaha, for sure.
Okay, cool.
And it always reminds me of course, Keokaha. And I think about the Līlīlehua family, which is Namaka them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I forgot she's a Līlīlehua. Yes. I know. Auntie Sue.
Yeah.
Līlīlehua.
So, and then her sister also danced for my hula sister, Nako'o, danced for her too. And then I taught many of her brothers, and her older brother was my classmate too.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
So I love Keokaha.
Okay. I got to listen to that one. I'm not sure. I might have heard it, but I probably. Yeah.
Don't worry. You get time.
You have a lot. I was trying to listen to a bunch. I'm just like, you have so many.
Too many. Yeah.
Okay. Next question comes from Nani Tato. This person says, is there a musician you would like to collab with? Doesn't have to be from Hawaii.
Oh. Yeah. Yes. Yes, there is. No one. I would love to sing with Ed Sheeran. Is that his name?
Ed Sheeran?
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran?
Yeah. Yeah. I like him.
Yeah, he's really good.
And then I like certain stuff that no, I'm not going to say him because it's superseded with Placido Domingo. No, not Placido Domingo, with Andre Bocelli.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to sing with Andre Bocelli. Yeah. And I would love to be in an audience to listen, if I could have, to Pavarotti sing Nessun Dorma.
Oh, from, yeah, you have the right voice where you could sing like that.
No. I trained with Neva for years in that style. But not like how he sang it. Do you know Les Sabalos?
No.
So Les taught at Kamehameha, and he was trained by my voice teacher before any of us went to him. I went to her, to Neva, and he could do it. And he sang for Pavarotti at one time at an interview or a audition that he had done. Who else do I like? Well, most of the ones that I want to sing with, I always wanted to sing backup for Barbra Streisand because I thought, I could sing You Don't Bring Me Flowers just as good as Neil Diamond. But yeah, those are just
cool. Hopefully it happens one day.
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay, I thought this was an interesting question. This comes from Jerry_Salamante, another avid listener of the podcast. Do you still love taking helicopter rides? And when was your trip to view the Nepali coast? Are you a big helicopter guy? Is that?
I am.
Oh, okay. That's funny. I was talking with somebody about helicopter rides, and I was saying that I have no interest in going on helicopter rides since Kobe Bryant died.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, I love them. I haven't gone on a helicopter ride for years, but I love them because it was so magical. And the first time we went on one, it was a gift from John DeMello to all of us. We were on Kauai. We were on Kauai, and oh God, there've been so many times. But Kauai Island, I've done all the islands by helicopter.
Oh wow!
Yeah, including Niihau and Kaho'olawe.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but Kauai is my most favorite, and that in those days you could be dropped off in the valleys, and so we were dropped off in Nu'ainalolo, and we could walk right to the stream that started up Mauka and then into the Wailele and then Lele'iho to the Kai at Honopu and stuff like that. And it was always, one year I took my whole Hālau as a gift for our birthday. I put them all on helicopters and we went into a valley. But and I always tell them, oh, I know the last time that we did one was down at Kualoa. We were asked to do a commercial. And I took the whole Hālau that was home to go. And it was supposed to be for something for Disney. You know, like how they do that soaring ride in Disney, not Disneyland, but California Adventure. Yeah. That
soaring adventure. Something.
Yeah. So, and it was supposed to be a pass of all the 50th states. And I don't know if they've done it, but, and they just came up over a ridge like this and we were dancing on the point. And with and all the islands most of the islands were available to see at that time. And that was the last time we were on it. But I told the boys as they were getting on, I said, what I want you to do is when it takes off, you need to look down. You need to look outside at the ground because it's the closest feeling that I've ever felt of astral travel, you know, because I believe that the body, when you go to sleep, that it travels and there's like this gold cord that connects us to it. And I said, that to me is like that out-of-body experience. And I wanted them to know that when they lift it off. And then, because what happens is you're looking down like this, and then when you look forward like this, you're in the sky. And it's just, it was just beautiful.
Well, you're kind of convincing me to want to go on a helicopter ride now.
If you do, because Oahu is beautiful too. We, the first year that we did, May Day at the Waikiki Shell, which was in the 80s, I think. Before the show started, John told us that we needed to go outside, and we went into the park, and he had a helicopter pick us up there. And we did a tour of Oahu, came back, saw the shell with all the people in it, and got on stage.
Oh, that's cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
So I do love helicopter rides. I haven't been on one for a while, but I would go at the drop of a hat.
Okay, well, if anybody wants to take him on a helicopter ride.
Yeah.
He's ready. Okay. Last question comes from Brian_Mick. This person says, what was your favorite concert or performance you ever gave at Roland?
Oh, like I said, there's just too many. Too many. It would definitely not be, it's easier to say what wasn't. And Carnegie Hall was nice. But and the place was loaded with local people.
In New York, wow.
From all up and down the eastern seaboard. They came out. There were people in the audience who were wearing nicer leis than we were wearing on stage, which is really bothersome. They had one whole row of this local family. Everybody was in rope bikakis.
Whoa.
And white kind, not dead brown like mine. It was beautiful. Yeah. Wow, those are a lot of questions. Thank you so much.
There's more, but I couldn't read all of them. Yeah. Well, mahalo everybody for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. Okay, back to my questions.
Okay, yeah, go.
I like to ask everybody at this point about aloha and the meaning of keeping it aloha, because I want to know in your life, how do you keep it aloha?
How do I keep it aloha? I don't, honestly, I don't think about it. I just do it.
You live it.
I just live it every single day. From the minute I wake up until I go to sleep, I'm living aloha, and in my own little world, I am aloha. And I exercise it by kindness, patience. And it isn't easy. It isn't easy because get plenty of stupid people. Our people included. Some of them are my relatives, but not too many. But yeah, I don't think about it. I just do it. If I had to think about it, it might be detrimental. It could be even fake a little bit.
Yeah, disingenuine.
Yeah, I love being in zippies, and not that that's being Hawaiian.
Yeah,
but I love being in zippies and listening to guys around my age, or maybe, I don't know, they could be younger than me because nobody thinks, I mean, they look 75, but they could be younger. And they're talking about the old days. One time there were these 4 older guys, with the gray hair. And remember that? And when I stood up, I looked at them and I was like, it's so good to hear the 4 of you talking like how I remember people talked when I was a kid. Because that means that you remember too. And I think that that's just a small part of, living my life in Aloha.
Awesome. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
What do you think changed most from your time to now within our community and like the Aloha? You know how sometimes people say like, oh, Aloha's gone, or, there's so much violence and all these things happening in the world. I like to think there's still a lot of positivity and a lot of Aloha, and it's just we choose what we want to see, right?
Yep.
So
I agree with you. I think that we have to recognize that the world has changed, that there's all kinds of shitty stuff, but at the same time that it's important to us. If we know that it's important, and if we try and live that, then as small as a spark may seem, it's important. And hopefully it will, inspire others to want to keep that alive. And this is another thing that everybody says, oh, everybody has Aloha. And it's true. Everybody does. So it's a lot different in different places of the world. But there is Aloha to be found everywhere. And it's just, if you can find that opportunity to connect with it, with somebody else, then maybe, the whole idea is to keep that going. And then to break down for yourself, what is Aloha? Is it patience? Is it kindness? Is it all of those things? Is it remembrance? Is it continuation? And I think that way in the front of there, it has to be, it's best to remember it as something that is very valuable. Because if you don't think it's valuable, then you just already are leaving it half behind. You're more, the glass is half empty than it is half full.
Yeah.
And I've always liked living, even with my rose-colored glasses, that I've been living a life of cup that's half full.
That's awesome. I wonder if it goes back to what you said about like teaching and being a kumu, is that maybe everybody has Aloha, maybe people don't show it because you need somebody to bring it out. Maybe it's our job, or it's your job, if that is your friend or an acquaintance, to bring the Aloha out of that person that may seemingly not have Aloha. So maybe that's what it is.
I think, and that's why I think this is so important, what you're doing, because the people that you have, first of all, you're very respectful.
Mahalo.
That's a credit to your ohana and to you. But also, you're here to let everybody talk their life, their honesty, their truth, which is beautiful. Sometimes, and it can be dangerous sometimes too. But that's why I like to watch it too. And you make yourself accessible. I known about you for a while, and I've been wanting to do this.
Oh, awesome. You've been on my list for a while. I just never reached out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I love knowing that.
I have a long list of 100 people, and it's just like depending on like a certain type of guest I want, timing. So I usually follow people. Like I almost reached out in May, to you because you had that I saw you in the commercial.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, it's too late. By the time we record, it's already going to pass. So that's why I waited. And then your name came up again. I was like, oh, I'll finally reach out.
Yeah, I was so happy to get your text.
Yeah.
So,
for responding.
I really believe that what you're doing is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that it comes from an amazing place. I love that, hiki au ke olalo hapa hiki kahi. Kamaina wau me ko mau kumu ahe nui.
Yeah.
And just, mai ka iloa. Yeah. So I look forward to watching more of your podcast.
Yeah. I want to keep getting diverse array of people and keep showing the different parts of Hawaii, because Hawaii isn't just Hawaiian.
I agree.
Although people love the Hawaiian episodes, they love the learning about culture, talking about sovereignty, stuff like that. But that's just not what it is today. That's just not who I am. I'm just not Hawaiian, I come from local culture, Asian culture, and like I've lived abroad. So I want to just show different perspectives.
Where did you live abroad?
In Madagascar. I was in the Peace Corps in Madagascar.
You're the only person in my life I know that had been to Madagascar.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person in the world that speaks Olelo Hawaii and Malagasy.
Really? Say something to me in Malagasy.
Manonai na vauvau.
Which means?
I just said, what's up? I said, how's it going? What's up? Yeah, Kamaka nua naraku aviani Hawaiiza. I said, my name is Kamaka. I'm from Hawaii.
How did you learn that?
While we were in the Peace Corps, when we get there, we have 3 months of training. So we learn the language, we learn cross-cultural stuff, we learn safety and security, we live with a host family, and then after 3 months, you go off and live in a community by yourself.
Wow.
So I was just in a community of about like 8,000 people, like in the middle of nowhere, just teaching English, and then nobody really speaks English, so you just have to learn. You go to the market, you speak Malagasy.
Wow.
So that's kind of how
Do you think that learning Hawaiian helped you with that?
Yeah, well, I think having the foundation of not just Hawaiian, but like Hawaiian immersion school really helped me with like opening up my mind to a lot of other things, and like really being good at like learning hands-on. Because that's how it was at Hawaiian immersion. So like being out there and like learning, not just like reading a book.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's what I really loved about being there. But I also learned Spanish in college.
Oh.
So
where'd you go to college?
At University of Hawaii Manoa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that I learned Spanish because people would say like, oh, you learn Hawaiian, or Hawaiian, and you can pick up languages so easily because you have another language. But to me, I explained it like I didn't really learn Hawaiian because I always just spoke it. So I tell people, do you remember a time where you spoke English, where you didn't speak English? That's how it was with Hawaiian for me. So I learned Hawaiian and English simultaneously. And like, yes, we have classes and you get better at it in school. But like my dad only spoke Hawaiian to me since I was a baby. So I never like really learned it.
What's your dad's first name?
Mike Diaz. Michael. He works for Alulike. I don't know. No.
Did he go to Kamalei?
He didn't. He went to Kaiser. Yeah.
Did you have Diaz's at Kamalei?
I'm not sure. We're not really connected to Diaz. So like a cool fun fact, I guess something that people don't know is Diaz is my dad's stepdad's last name.
Oh, okay.
So we're Sonoras.
Sonora?
So, yeah. So George Sonora is my grandpa.
That name is so...
He was a police officer.
Somehow my family on the Manaku side are related to the Sonoras.
Okay.
Yeah. So I forget. I never see my cousins long time. But
yeah. I'm not really close with her. I don't know too much about the Sonora or Diaz side because my dad, he didn't know his dad growing up. So it wasn't until he was much older that he got like reconnected with his dad. The Sonora side. Yeah.
Well, I bet the Sonora side would be proud to know your side.
Yeah, I've met a couple cousins like recently over the last couple of years. And I think some of them are surfers. I think Harry Sonora. I don't know.
I have a cousin named Harry Sonora.
He was a singer, right?
He was a what?
I think he sang Harry Sonora.
Oh, yes, yeah. Okay, there's several Harrys.
Okay.
So I know who that one is too. Yeah, that's right. I forgot all about him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Small world.
The world, right?
Yeah.
So I think like having the foundation of Hawaiian and learning Spanish in college made it easier to learn Malagasy, but also with Malagasy being an Austronesian language, same with Hawaiian and Maori and Samoan and the other languages, it helped me pick it up really easily. I mean, even the words are similar. Yeah.
Did you go to anything at the FestPac thing?
I did. I went into a couple.
Were you able to understand other languages when they were speaking?
Some. I liked. That's something I really love to do. Is just like listen to like Maori or like Samoan, Tongan, even Micronesian, and just see what words I can like kind of pick off.
Yeah.
So I didn't really talk to anybody from any of the delegations, but just like seeing videos and stuff like that.
Some of my guys from Hālau said that they found Rarotonga. Rarotonga.
Yeah.
To be very similar. And Rapa Nui, they found they could understand.
So there's this guy, Maluhi Estates. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He teaches Olelo Hawaii. He speaks like a Manoleo. But he posted some videos of him talking with some guy from Rapa Nui.
Oh yes, I saw that.
So that's Maluhia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that was really interesting. They were talking in their own languages, but they could
understand each other. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Small world.
So I'm just really grateful for my upbringing and the path that I went on, and that I was able to live abroad, learn about other people, and then bring all of that back here. And then now I'm doing this, and I just feel like I get to share so many different perspectives.
And so now, Aole. Keiki.
Aole keiki, yeah. Wahine wale no. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe at some point, but I don't know. I talk about how I don't want kids, but I'm not ruling it out. You know, you can't.
Yeah,
you never know.
I have, but don't.
Yeah. Why?
Unless you want to have a Hālau.
You never wanted to start a family or have kids?
No, I'm too selfish.
At least you know.
Yeah.
Kelly,
and it's really good because then, I have Hālau, but when it's done, they go home.
That's your kiki.
Yeah, they can go home. They can go home to their wives or to their boyfriends or to their dogs for all I care. It's all good.
That's how I always felt with like pets and nieces and nephews. Like you get to play with them, hang out, but you get to give them back. You don't gotta take care of them.
Yeah, we get the best part. We get the fun part, and then we can send them home.
Yeah, Kelly Hu said that not having kids and being married was the best financial decision of her life.
I agree with her. I heard her say that, and I loved it too. I'm so glad that you talked story with her.
Yeah,
because
awesome.
I mean, some people know she's from Hawaii.
But she's like real tita.
She's a real tita.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when she did that movie, the Haumana, are you familiar with that?
The Haumana, no.
The Haumana. Okay, so the Haumana was done by my Haumana, my student, Kale Wolford.
Okay.
And she played the part of the bartendress, Linda, in the bar. And she said that she was able to finally channel her inner drag queen. And she was perfect in
really?
that. I've never seen her more local than in that one. And actually it made me fall in love with her from that moment too. Yeah.
She's awesome.
She's a great gal.
It's cool to get people that we see online that we have a little bit information on. You could Google something, you see short clips on social media, but you don't really know them.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know. Well, actually, I didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't know, like, how local she was. Like, she's actually from here, born and raised, went to Kamehameha schools. So, she's...
Yeah, I had to learn all of that, too. You know, it's when we were invited to perform in New York City we went twice for Bette Midler.
Okay.
Because she had that...
and she's from Hawaii, right?
She's from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
She, Halava.
Okay, cool.
She had that nonprofit organization to beautify New York. She would make parks and places that they had spaces and stuff like that. And we did her shows over there. And when we went to her shows, it was like watching a local girl perform in a haole situation, but who looked like one haole. But she she is such a tira.
Yeah. And you know, like, even if somebody's Hālau, you know if they're local.
Yeah.
If they're from here.
Yeah. And her pidgin is amazing. And I'll never forget that at the end of the concert, and I mean, there were lots of people there with lots of money and lots of famous people. But she had a line of people that were waiting to see her. And I went to just wave goodbye to her. And she said to me, wait. And she just told everybody, sorry, you got to give me time. And she goes, I want to go with you back to see the dancers. I said, okay. And she was there. And she had a hard time, in Hawaii because she looked so Hawaii, and they made fun of her a lot. And that's why it was much easier for her to move away. And then when she started doing her career, her father was really embarrassed by what she was doing because she was very raw. Yeah. And, her first job was in the baths. She was in the gay baths doing shows in New York City. So she comes behind in the back and she looks at everybody. She goes, I just want you guys to just stay right there. And she wanted to look at, she went to everybody like this. She looked at every face and she said, I just want to look at your faces because when I look at your faces, I feel home. And I thought, how beautiful is that? I had to remember that because I wanted to do that again, but I haven't ever had the opportunity to do that because I'm home. So I see them all the time. But I always thought, now that's the local girl inside there because she went Radford, Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, so she was around the same time, a little after Melvin, I think. And and she's before, you know who Loretta Oblis is?
No.
Okay, Loretta Oblis is a jazz singer that performed at the Halekulani for years and around town, but she now does Broadway work. And she was at the Lincoln Center and in London doing South Pacific. She played Bloody Mary. And she's another one. She, born and raised here from the kind, same school, Radford. Actually, no, she was born in California, I think, because she's Filipino. Yeah. Married a nice Hālau guy, but she's an interesting person. She get plenty of people.
Yeah, so many. Our goal soon is to go outside of Hawaii and find these local people all around. Like we're trying to plan a trip to Japan to interview Konishiki, the sumo wrestler.
I was so sad to hear when
Akebono
passed away. We had done a show in Japan called Sushi, Sake, and Song.
Oh, that's fun.
With Pamela Young. And he had just arrived in Japan at that time.
So he is still local to his core. So we had a call.
Kinoshiki?
No, Konishiki.
Yeah.
So we had a call with him a couple months ago because we wanted to go to Japan to interview him, and he was just talking stories in straight pidgin.
Yeah,
like I didn't realize because he's been in Japan for 30 years, but his pidgin was just 100%.
I think he comes home a lot.
He comes home a lot. Yeah.
Does he have children?
I don't know.
I know he married a pretty Japanese girl.
Yeah, Japanese girl. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, hopefully it works out and we'll be there soon. And I'll learn more about it.
Works out for you too.
Yeah. Japan's awesome. I just went for the first time earlier this year and I can't wait to go back.
I leave Monday.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wait, didn't you just go to Japan?
Yeah. I leave Monday, then I come home, then I go again towards the ending of the month, and I go to Michigan.
Oh, how often do you go to Japan?
Oh, before the pandemic, I was there maybe 9 of the 12 months.
Oh.
Back and forth.
Just for hula?
For hula and for concerts.
Oh, yeah.
It was a much bigger crowd back then. Things have changed a lot since COVID, but also too with the yen exchange. Yeah. It's really bad now.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Bad, but good for us.
Good for us, sad for them. And they are having a really bad tourist problem.
In what way?
Too many.
Too many? So kind of what's
and
happening?
Too disrespectful.
Oh.
The Chinese and the Americans, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Them kind of Americans.
Yeah. Speaking of tourism, how different was Waikiki back in the 60s and 70s and 80s? What was there still a big influx of tourists? Because that's kind of the time where like Hawaii was popping, right? Where like a lot of people wanted to come.
Sunday Manoa time, there were a lot of tourists, but it was a heavy duty local crowd that would still go to Waikiki for shows, for parties, for drinking, down at the beach and stuff. There was a good local presence always, and there were a lot of local people working in the hotels.
Yeah,
well,
you still see that these days. A lot of local guys, girls working.
You still do, but
especially valet.
But when you get to like Maui or Kauai or like the outer islands like that, it's more the idea of Malihini welcoming Malihini rather than Kama'aina welcoming Malihini. So it's a little bit different. When we go on tour, like if we did one year for Hālau, we did the duck tour where you can go inside a kai and stuff like that. And the Haole guy was trying to tell us about the history of Kohe Malama Kohe Lepe. And he started to try and tell us about it. And every time he would try and mention a name, all of us would say the name. And finally he said, I'm going to stop right now. And we applauded because we didn't need him to tell us our stories, So it's that kind of a thing too. I'm offended when they say to me, and where are you from? Are you a native? I don't like even talk to them.
Yeah, that's funny.
I know, I'm a dick now. I worked so hard to be a nice guy, and I was doing so good. Now I could give a fuck.
You're just reverting back.
Yeah, I am. Quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, of all the things that you've done, you've had such a long career. I mean, such an amazing career. What would you say you're most proud of?
Singing the old songs. And knowing that those people that I talked about earlier that were worried about whether it will continue or not, I did my part. I did my part, and I hope that we have been able to pass it on to some of these young kids that are coming up so that they'll be able to say that when they're my age.
Totally. You've laid the bricks. You've put the foundation.
We hope so, like how they did too. I had great teachers who didn't need to be kind, who just didn't need to be kind. And some of them weren't for a while, But because of who eventually liked us, they were able to help change that tide of thinking to become more supportive. And then because of the way things went, and Roland was always the more contemporary one, and I was always the more traditional one. And we were able to meld both together. And so
that's perfect. That's what we need.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people loved you.
I think it was, but it also needs the people that remember that.
Yeah.
Because if the young ones today don't know that and all they know is the reggae music, then kiss Pualilia goodbye. And all those Kamalei Keokahas, and I think that would be and the more our people move away, because that changes you too. So,
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what does the future look like for you?
I love answering this question because I have no idea. I just gonna take whatever comes and live in it. And I don't, when on my 60th birthday, the day after I woke up from being 60, I I thought to myself, well, it's too late to make a 20-year plan. So I made a 30-year plan instead. And so far, I am next year, I'll be 15 years into that 30-year plan. So I'm figuring that for right now, I'm living on the breath of the gods right now. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm just going to take advantage of it as long as I can. And when it comes time to be pau, then I hope not to be too upset about that and to just slip gently into the veil. Hey, I wanted to apologize to you too about that comment about who I don't want to talk about.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because that was so uncalled for, but I was going through a moment, so I apologize.
We'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
You guys will never know.
Yes, no. Yeah. So, and I'm doing a concert at the ending of this month at the Hawaii Theater with this group called Mana Music.
Mana Maoli.
Huh?
Is it Mana Maoli or Mana Music?
Is that the quartet?
Oh, okay. No, I'm thinking something else.
Okay, so it's a quartet of strings.
Okay.
And the leader is this Japanese boy from California, I think he is. But they play such beautiful music, and I'm doing a concert with them.
Cool.
I'm so looking forward to it because in April, I did a concert with the symphony.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I had to write 10 original songs, and they could be
new ones?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I did that, and it could have been, in English or in Hawaiian, and Hapahaole. So I did a number of different types, 10 songs altogether, and then they arranged them all, and then I did that concert.
Cool.
So I'm going to do some of those songs with that.
Okay. Wait, did you release those songs?
No, we never recorded it.
Oh, okay.
They're all original songs. So,
okay.
So I'm going to eventually put them on tape as well. And do you know Zach Lum?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
he's at the band
Keoho. Yeah. So he's one of my haumana.
Oh yeah, because he does hula.
And his brother. Yeah.
I know his wife because she went to Sacred Hearts. Lindsay.
Oh no, that's his brother. Okay.
Oh, brother.
So his brother is Nick. Nick is married to Lindsay.
Oh, okay. Wait. So who did you say?
Zach.
Oh, Zach.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Zach is married to
Nick.
A girl named Uilani.
Okay.
Yeah, she's from Maui originally, but she's a Kamehameha girl too.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
And she's a lawyer.
Okay.
And yeah, they're a force. Your guys' time.
Yeah, I see them all the time. Is Kahanuola in that?
Yes, that's the third member.
Yeah, because he's a Kamehameha teacher, and he also was on the podcast.
Yeah, he's a good guy too. I love both his parents. He just lost his dad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what do you love most about being Hawaiian?
What do I love most about being Hawaiian? I think that after all these years, what I love most about being Hawaiian right now is the small things that sometimes I can't even explain, like the moon the other night. I don't know if that's just being Hawaiian or just being human.
Was it Mahealani?
Mahealani, yeah. So I live in this apartment building, and I went up to the roof, and it's overlooking the city, and I love stuff like that. I love the taste of opai, dried opai. That's the kind of stuff I love about being Hawaiian. I love the fact that last night we went to go eat pake food, and when we were getting up, my friend and I both kind of went, as we're trying to get up, and the table next to us were two older people, and they both started laughing, and we looked at each other and we all cracked up because we all knew that we had seen that years before, and now it's our turn.
That I do that at my age.
Really? At your 31?
Yeah,
Cut it out.
I got bad knees.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. But I love small things like that. I love hearing pidgin. I love hearing people talking Hawaiian as much as I love hearing people talk French. I love knowing that we have a place in the world where nobody else knows it, where we can speak our own language on our own land. Things like that. I can sing the songs of our people. Simple stuff, like that. I don't know. I don't need anything fancy to tell me, we can all shop at Louis Vuitton, but yeah. The other thing is wearing lei. I hate that whenever you wear a lei, people go, "Oh, is it your birthday?" Because why you gotta wear lei? Because it's your birthday. What happened to the days when
normalized,
you just made? Yeah, it needs to be normalized that we just wear lei.
Yeah,
and that kind of stuff. So I'm proud to wear lei. No,
That's
whether I make them or not.
That's a really good point. Kuana probably has the same kind of.
Oh yeah, and Kuana will wear. That is ingrained in him.
He brought me a beautiful one. When he did his podcast, he was to this day the best dressed podcast guest. Yeah. He had his like pupu ni'ihau. He had leis. I think he had a lei po'o as well.
He probably did because that's his signature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, I fight myself sometimes because I like wear all that stuff, and I'm like.
But then you must be more simple.
I mean, even when so Saturday we had to do that Prince Lot thing, and I'm thinking, which lei should I wear? Should I wear the long ni'ihau? Should I wear the feather leis and stuff? I was like. Stupid. Just grab one of those little things like that and just wear that. Never mind.
Yeah, that's cool though. We should normalize just wearing leis.
Yeah.
On regular occasions. It doesn't have to be a birthday. It doesn't have to be a graduation. Yeah. It could just be part of your outfit. Just like how mu'umu'u. The mu'umu'u is coming back. Yeah. People are just wearing mu'umu'u. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a special reason.
No, and I love that too. And the other thing too is, and this is all personal choice, of course. But when you watch Merry Monarch, everybody is just decked out with the high skirts and all that.
It's one of the appeals of Merry Monarch because everybody gets to be Hawaiian and proud to be Hawaiian. And the outfits, the palaka, the mu'umu'u.
Yeah, and I'm like...
The leis.
If that's what you say, then that's okay. But I mean, we did that concert at the for Prince Lot. I put the boys all in long black skirts. And I made them dance through the audience, from the audience, and then walk on stage. So, because it's not competition. It's not traditional competition. That's when you can do stuff like that. That's when you can be showy.
Oh, you're talking about on stage.
Yeah,
but I was just talking about people.
Merry Monarch, you can be just after a while. We can all look alike. We can all talk alike. We can all sound alike, And that's why style is so important. I don't know, maybe I should have brought that up, maybe. That if you have a style that's been passed down to you, then do that style. Don't change because they won last year, so I want to look like them. That's not how it works. You hold on to what if you have a foundation. And that to me is important.
Okay.
I would be nothing if I didn't have that foundation.
Cool.
How do I feel Hawaiian? Because I have a foundation.
Yeah. You got that the pico. Haika pico, right?
Oh yeah.
That's what they say.
Pico no. Yeah. I did this interview one time and this haole guy asked me, what makes you a Hawaiian? And I had a long time ago. I had a hard time. So and then I saw Kawa and I said to her, so this haole guy, wanina oya mai, Hey Hawaii oi, no kia, bebe he mai. And then she goes, oh, easy. I go, easy? She goes, yeah. I said, what do you mean easy? She goes, I got my answer already. I said, what's your answer? She goes, the blood. And I was like, shit, why didn't I talk to you before I did this interview? I mean, after that, what are you going to say after that? I was like, oh. So now when people, what makes you Hawaiian?
Coco. It's in the coco.
Yeah. And that's exactly what she said too. Coco.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
I think as a very simple answer, that's the easiest to give.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because it makes so much sense.
Yeah. Because
after that, it's like what?
Yeah. Because so we talked with Keanu Sai in the last episode. And he was talking about almost the classifications about like being a Hawaiian subject, how people view themselves as Hawaiian nationals, how even what's his name, Sanford Dole, he was a Hawaiian subject, right? So he would be considered Hawaiian. Yeah, and then there's like Kanaka Oiwi, Kanaka Maoli, and all of that stuff. So there's like so many different things that would explain a Hawaiian. I think that the easiest way to explain it today is it's in the coco.
Yeah.
You got Hawaiian blood, you're Hawaiian. And then if you want to get to the nitty gritty, it's like, okay, well, if you were born and raised on this land, how they view it under their laws of the Hawaiian kingdom, you're a Hawaiian subject. Yeah. Then he goes into nationality and ethnicity. It's still very confusing.
Yeah, it is. I love when in Malihini try and tell me that they lived here for 17 years, so they're Kama'aina.
Yeah, that's like if we had some sort of citizenship test.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, for more worse, if they live kohala,
Mm-hmm.
and they're telling me, "Oh, I'm Kamalei."
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, I don't know what the actual like rules are. Like, say, like even if I lived in Madagascar for 10 years, I would never say I'm a local.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I'm Malagasy. I would try to be like them and speak their language and respect them out of, you know, honor.
Respect them being the
Yeah.
most important thing.
Yeah, and I think that's like the main thing is like you can do what we do, but just do it out of respect.
Yeah.
Don't do it out of you know, you want to look cool, you want to try to fit in. Like do it to respect.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. But yeah, I think the Hawaiian stuff, it's always going to be an ongoing conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way you put it, and I like that it came from Kumu Kavana.
Yeah,
because that's somebody who
I got to tell you another one. I was on a cruise in the islands, around the islands on this cruise ship, and it was a Hawaiian cruise where there were people talking and stuff like that. And it was she and Pila, and they were doing the language, and this semi-Kamaina couple who lived here for many years were on that cruise as well. And they were doing their talk on the language. And the husband of this woman that was there said to Kawa, or Kumukamana,
Mm-hmm.
said to Kawa, well, how many words do you have in your language? Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how many words do you have in your language? And so I'm going to tell you that she had this look, which I know you know. I know you know that look. And she sort of like turned to him and she said, right back in that same tone, how many words you need before you think we have a language? And I just sat there and I wanted to laugh so badly because it was like, you get what you give, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you give. And I thought it was so perfect.
That's the responses that they would give. And just make them so wise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just honest, simple, but true.
Yeah. And the way they flip it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's one of my heroes. I never told you that, but you're one of my heroes. I love you.
Well,
you know that.
Well, when she comes on the podcast, we'll have you here, and then she can maybe say you're one of her heroes.
She don't have to. I know already. She has no choice. I love her.
That's awesome. Well, what is a piece of advice that you'd like to give us youngins, you know, from your 75 years of life?
I would say that my advice, first of all, my advice is not important. To be asked to give you advice is a privilege. I would say that it's the advice that I would give myself. That no matter how much time I have left and how much time you have left, to do the best you can for yourself and for your family and for our people and then for people in general. To be strong. To love who you are. Hard, you know, easy to say, but hard to get there. But once you do get there, you wonder what took you so long.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of crazy to think it's hard to love yourself, right?
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's like, it's an easy idea, right? Love yourself.
Yeah.
Love others. But to get to that point, it's hard because I think it comes to be able to love yourself and to love others, you're going to have to understand yourself and understand others, which I don't think we really think about it, because what makes us not like others is misunderstandings, you know? And sometimes we choose not to understand others.
Yes. Yes.
And I just feel like what I've learned in life in my 31 years is that we need to do a better job at understanding, you know? Because love is great and, you know, all these other things, totally we need it in life. They say love is like the strongest of like force in the world. But I feel like understanding is what should be more important, in my personal opinion. Because once we understand each other, then yes, we don't have to agree. You might disagree, but then you understand somebody and you could still have that aloha. You can still love someone. Yeah. So I just feel like if we did better at, you know, like I always say, listen to understand, not just listen to respond. If we did more of that, I think we'd have a lot less trouble in the world.
I like
and a
that.
lot more aloha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the back end of the podcast, and one question that I like to ask all my guests as well is, what is one thing you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Oh. Well, you know, of course, this has to deal with food. So my favorite auntie was my Auntie Helen, my mother's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, I used to spend a lot of time with her. It was a tumultuous time at home. So I spent a lot of time with her. And she would cook for us, to eat and stuff like that. But one of my favorite things that she made was that, she would warm up the Campbell's vegetable soup and get cold rice and put butter on the rice and then pour the soup right over.
Mm.
I freaking love that.
That's so funny you bring that up, because Keanu Sai was mentioning, so his first time he met Keanu Reeves, which is his cousin,
Yeah.
The actor.
Yeah.
And the first time he met him, he put butter on his rice.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a common thing.
I didn't know that, but yeah. And then the other thing that she would do that I haven't found anybody to do it for me yet, but she would chop up opai and mix it into the hamburger, and then she would fry it, and
Ooh.
we'd have hamburgers that, with that
I've never
salty
had that
taste
with
inside.
Yeah.
Brother.
Okay, you got to try that one day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So anyway, that's something that most people don't know
Okay.
about me, because there's a lot already. When you've lived 75 years, there's not, I had to constantly keep thinking of different answers of questions that I got at the same time.
Yeah.
So
what do you think people misunderstand about you?
That I'm rich, that I'm famous, that I'm unapproachable.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets less as you get older, because probably all of that was more true when I was like in my 20s and my 30s. But I think that's part of what you're supposed to be, sort of, in order to get to the point where you are at now. The opportunity to have a second chance at trying to be the best person that you can be. And I have had more than my share of second chances.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, just be grateful for them.
And I am quite grateful.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, sounds like you love life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this,
Of course.
I really, and thanks for interviewing all the people that I like so much, because they're cool people.
Yeah.
I like people knowing how cool our friends are.
Totally. That's why I have the best job. I just get to talk with cool people and brag about them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And for that, we're grateful.
Yeah. I'm just happy that I have this platform and I can do that. Mahalo. But before we end the podcast, I got to know, what is your life hack? Were you able to think of a life hack that you can share with us?
Explain to me what the life hack is again.
Okay, so it's just something in your life that makes your life easier, more efficient, something that you do in your everyday life. It could be something physical. It could be just like a mantra. It could be some advice.
Singing. Yeah.
Can you explain why?
When I sing, I go someplace. Not all the time now, but it's when it's like a perfect singing storm. It could be the lighting, it could be the people, it could be just me. Mostly it's me. And it has to do with the farthest light that I can see wherever I am, whether it's a star or a pin light or a moving light, but it has to be the farthest one away from where I am. And I sing to that star. I sing to that spot. And because I think that that's where all the people that I know are around me are, where they come from. And so I feel like I'm singing to them. And it's when my voice is the sweetest, and when it's all those things, grateful, happy, sad, emotional. is singing. It's and at my piano.
Is that your favorite instrument?
Because the piano was my first instrument before the bass or anything else.
Yeah, because you're known for the bass, right?
Yeah, but Roland really was the bass player in the family.
Oh, really?
So when he started to play with Peter, he played the bass, but then he moved to guitar, and then I played the bass.
Oh, okay.
And he basically taught me my basics for the bass, taking it from the piano.
Oh, I don't know if you realize what you just did there. You said basically bass.
Did I?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. This unintentional, what are like triple entendre? I don't know what they're called, but yeah.
But for me, that would be the singing, the whole idea of singing. And I always said, when I wake up and I cannot sing anymore, then it's time to go. Yeah.
Luckily, it's one of those things you can do until the wheels fall off.
We hope so.
Even if you can't walk, like Fiji.
Yes,
you can still sing. Yeah.
My about several years ago, I lost my voice for a whole year.
Whoa!
I had been sick, and I kept coughing, and the more I coughed, anyway, I lost my voice, and I was working at the time, and I'd have to do shows without a voice, and then finally, this again towards the ending of Roland's career, and then he passed, and then I went to the doctor one day. Finally, ear, nose, and throat. And he told me that, your vocal cords are supposed to be like this, close together like that. But that mine had, because of the coughing, it had cracked open a little bit. So like it was a sliver. And I said, well, so what can I do for that? And he goes, well, basically, not very much. He said, because you've been using it for years. It's a little bit abused. And you're older. He said, it'll get better, but it'll never be what you had before. And I remember it well because I was in my 60s when that happened. And, excuse me. And I had years ago, I had gone to the psychic, and she told me, she said that my voice would hit my peak in my 50s. And she said, be careful, because in the 60s, something's going to happen that's going to change your voice. So be careful of it. But I didn't know what it was until this happened. And then I thought of her voice telling me that. And so it's gotten better, but I know for myself, and the ones who are closest to me, who know me really well, they can tell when it's not at its best. So when it is, and I'm singing and I'm there, that's what makes me want to wake up every day.
Oh, that's awesome. It's what motivates you.
Yeah.
That's super cool. All right. So I have my last fast Fave 5 questions. These are just rapid fire answers.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Okay. Favorite hula? I know this is a hard one.
Favorite hula?
Yeah.
Kahiko or awana?
One for each.
Okay. Kahiko obviously would be Hole Waimea. Awana would probably be the Yauekala.
I know Hole Waimea. We had to learn that in Anavi.
Oh, yeah.
Hole Waimea, Ika, Kamaka, and that was one, right?
Yeah.
I know everybody does it differently, right? Yeah, I heard it. So we learn it like that, like faster. But I remember I've seen it done like very slow.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never seen it done slow.
Yeah. Or I guess slower than like different. I guess the cadence is what I mean. Different than how we learned it.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite post-performance snack? What's your go-to?
Post-performance snack? French fries.
Oh, nice. From where?
McDonald's.
So I don't eat like fast food anymore, but I do remember McDonald's having the best French fries. There are certain things that I miss, like a sourdough jack and milkshake from Jack in the Box, the ice cream and taro pie and French fries from McDonald's, and certain things like that. stuff from Taco Bell.
Yeah, I love those French fries. I tell you.
So I'm not. Yeah, I don't personally eat it, but I do miss it.
Yeah, and I like them too because I like shoestring ones.
Yeah,
rather than the thick ones.
Yeah. No, I remember eating like handfuls. Like I can't just grab one. Like I get them in handfuls and just like stuff my mouth.
And then if I had to go in like overall snack, M&Ms.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Peanuts.
Yeah. Peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, this might lead to the next question.
Okay.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Famous guilty pleasure. I can't tell you. Okay, I can't tell you. Sex.
Okay.
Not that it's guilty, but it's just kind of like...
It's people aren't open about it.
Yeah. Yeah. They should be.
That's a very honest answer. I respect that.
Yeah.
French fries and sex.
Yes, there you go. It relates,
French fries after the sex, or you don't want to be
during and before.
That's part of the kink.
There you
I've
go.
Never heard of that before.
Yes.
What's your kink? French fries.
Yes.
That's funny. Okay, favorite happy hour spot.
I don't like to say because people will go there and it's hard to get a table. Shinshote.
I don't even know what that is.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay. All right. And last one, favorite vacation destination.
Oh, gosh. Chico, California.
Really? Wow. I wasn't expecting that. What's over there?
My dear friends.
Oh.
They live on one of the boulevards.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a 2-story home that's a runaway for me. And when I'm there, when the phone rings, I know that it's not for me. And I just habitate when I'm there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's really great.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we have for you today. I just want to say again, mahalo.
That's a lot. And I want to thank you.
Did we get all our poragi out today?
I think we did. And I think you were very kind by letting me just keep talking and talking and
That's
talking.
what I do. Yeah. People know me as somebody who talks, but I'm actually a very good listener.
I usually enjoy listening too, but I found myself, I had so many things to say. I never got the questions.
What do you mean?
Did you send the questions to me?
Oh no, so I just tagged you so people could.
Oh, got
so
it. Okay.
your
I
followers
misunderstood
could
that,
see.
and I was like,
yeah.
Oh, I don't really need questions because I like to shoot from the hip. So this was, it was fun.
Yeah,
me.
Of course. Yeah. I always have a great time. Is there anything you want to share with our audience before we wrap up?
I just want to tell people that that we're really lucky to have you doing this, and that you're making a good mark of being a treasure for us too. Because maybe not right now, even though it's good right now, it'll be even better 20 years from now.
We're documenting these stories.
Yeah. That's so good. And again, it's part of the power that your generation has, and the availabilities. May as well use it, right?
Yeah, it's my makana.
Yeah. Oi no ka
makana. Yeah. And oi fu.
Mahalo nui.
Yeah. Well, where can we find you?
Where can you find me? I don't know. I'm around. Find me at Mass.
At Mass.
AKA Starbucks. Sometimes. Watch out when we're doing a concert.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I think that you could go online because there's the Brothers Cazimero or Robert Cazimero thing that I don't necessarily follow. And so people say to me, how come you didn't answer I sent you a text and or an email, and I'm like, I don't want to tell them. I don't even look at it. So I just go, oh, I've been so busy. But that's the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, find them on Instagram, website.
Yeah. Or they can ask you the question, and you can let me know.
Message me and I'll connect you. How about that? Yeah. Well, mahalo, Robert, for joining us
to you,
on
brother.
the Keep It Love podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka. Remember to always keep it aloha.